Hey y'all, it's Tuesday. I'm Scrub. Wasted this entire day. The entire day has been an absolute waste. So at least if anything, I'm going to try to wind these coils here and see what I can do with it. At least do some kind of production today. We've upped it from 60 winds to 70 to maybe get a slightly closer spacing. There it is in all its glory. Look at that beautiful bastard. Probably one of my finest wines. Y'all want to see my G-code? Get a good peep at that right there. And these location 1, wrap 1, this right here, all of this is pretty much the code. You basically copy and paste this how many times you like, with the exception this goes forward and this goes backward. So essentially like forward, backward, and then backward, so on.
This is Stan's Revenge.
Bro, I burned another MOSFET. Not getting the performance I want out of this thing. So let's analyze something real quick here. This is the waveform I'm getting here with this imbalanced scenario. And I just want to zoom in here. I took away the 12 volts and the PWM, so it's just the positive or negative you're seeing on the cell itself. You see these these equal polarity pulses, but not really so much equal. So we have our increments here, this being the center line here. Let's take a look at that right there. Yeah, this is certainly not balanced. Actually, yeah, look at that one block right there. And we've got damn near 2 blocks on this side. So we have a major imbalance here on this side versus this side. Way more negative potential. The positive peaks out here at basically this 2 mark here. Whereas this one peaks out over top of that 2 mark here. So this one barely gets to that 2 increment here. This one gets well over that, so we have an imbalanced setup here. So we're going to look at this meticulously after we end up balancing this inductor to match the secondary's negative coil, and we're going to see how that adds up here. I've already blown 2 MOSFETs. I'm going to try not to do it again, but I've got 3 cells hooked up in series, but I'm just not. I mean, the frequency also, resonant frequency also came down to like 300, which is like way low. So, because we added so much more inductance to it, most likely, we need 75 volts here to get our mark, but, you see, this sucker's just so loud. And I'm going to blow another MOSFET here, I know it. Just can't get to the voltage level I want. Hold up. We're going to do that now. I'll unwrap this thing rather than try to balance that. Just a little bit under. I miscalculated always, so gotta wrap it back up with more. So I've come to find out this thing is very finicky. Let me turn this off. This thing is very finicky. When you go to clasp this core back together, there was a couple fragments of plastic creating a gap, drastically changing inductance as I was putting these things back and forth. So I ultimately ended up unwinding too many. This thing now weighs in at about 400 millihenries. This is with a gapped core. And this one still weighs in at about, it was about 380 still. So I'm 40 millihenries off still. I'm lower this time. Before, my inductor had more inductance than my secondary. But now that it has less inductance than the secondary, let's break this down, okay? We see our center line there. We now have this pulse, let's say starting right here. 1 and maybe 3/4 cubes. That's 1 and maybe a quarter there. So that is very drastic as far as that goes. Additionally, we have this guy here peaking over 1-2 cubes, but maybe 2.5 cubes there, whereas this side barely reaches over 2. Now, if I'm not mistaken, which my videos will show, is that since the inductance on the secondary is now higher than the inductance on Inductor A, this waveform has shifted to where previously, I believe this was the negative was getting more, just more negative voltage than positive voltage, where now we have more positive voltage than negative voltage, and it's just kind of like offset. Let's try to compare these in the videos. That goes to show about how balancing those two inductors makes all the difference. Now let's blow a MOSFET. That's that equal opposite polarity. Look at that. Let's max it out. I want 75 volts. But we're just not going to get there. About 10 volts short. That's about our max right there. You can get some fair production for that voltage level, but still not where we want to be. Look at this phase shifting though. Look at that pulse. Let's pay attention right there. Watch this pulse just move backwards as I increase voltage here. You see that? That pulse moves backwards. Look at that. Forwards. Backwards. Forwards. That's some awesome phase shifting there. Yep, we're maxed out at about 63 volts. Not impressive. But obviously this is going to be a different reading because we have 3 cells hooked up instead of 2. But look how easy it is to obtain 40 volts. That is, what, 2 watts of power? 2 watts of power to create 40 volts? That's awesome, but extrapolated over that, that'd be equivalent of 60 volts here, so, which we do not get the same efficiency at 60 volts. There's 60 volts, let's say, right there. And that's about 44 watts. Nothing special. Just not impressed. Not doing anything like what I had hoped. Check out this step charging effect though. I captured this just as I was turning it on. So as you turn on the cell, you have this step charging effect. And if you're just running constant PWM, 100% no gate, you're not going to see the step charging effect because you're at maximum voltage all the time. But this is the effect that happens from the VIC, basically increasing voltage amplitude at each pulse. You can see that equal opposite polarity growing during each pulse there. That's a nice representation right there. Pretty much like the rotary VIC, but that is exactly what happens here. But if we were to turn this on, you can see that right there, how we're at a maximum. The step charging is an effect of the VIC, not necessarily mode of how you operate it. So what have we learned? We've learned that this puny little coil outperforms this bigger coil. Previously, we know that stainless steel inductors allow for higher voltage. So my question is, the secondary was wrapped, I think, with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wraps, and that may just be too much. 3 may be the Goldilocks zone. So we're just going to have to take another look at this tomorrow, essentially. More to come.
This is Stand Revenge.